Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast right here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, brought to you by gamblersworld.net, where you'll find 10 of the finest handicappers anywhere in the country, and we guarantee our picks, which means if you don't win, you don't make a profit on any single game or multi-game daily package or any subscription plan of 30 days or fewer, we will credit your account back the exact amount of your purchase price. Don't forget to give us a like on this video. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take a second to do so. It costs you absolutely nothing. You'll see a subscribe button right beneath you, or you'll see a WC logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen if you're on your PC. That serves the same purpose. And while you're at it, folks, after you subscribe, or if you have already subscribed and haven't done this, please go into your YouTube settings and click on the alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. You'll be notified immediately upon any of our 5 podcasts going up weekly. I am joined today, and today is Tuesday, May 14th, by Mr. Sean Higgs and Mr. Jesse Schule. By the way, I'm Ross Benjamin, and we're going to be talking NBA. Jesse's going to have some props plays. Me and Sean will have picks on both games. And without further ado, Sean, how are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I didn't get to the comments because I know I kind of said Pacers should take care of business relatively easy in the 2 home games. It wasn't as easy as I thought it should have been. But listen, winner
yesterday.
It wasn't
Game 4. It was.
Yeah, well, it should have been like that in game 3 as well because that's the day we're talking about it. So
yeah.
I'm sure we took a lot of lumps there. But listen, it's an interesting series there. We'll talk about that in a bit. And winner last night, I had the under in the Maverick game. So NBA playoffs treating me pretty good. Hockey, though, I've been ice cold. I've been on the Rangers the last couple games trying to close out a series. It can't happen. It is what it is. You know, when you start going bad in one, I just lean to what's treating me well, and that's the NBA right now. And baseball's all right. I split yesterday, a couple tough losses late. But that's baseball. I'm not getting hurt because
you actually at the site were 4-3 in baseball. So, and you don't give up big chalk, so you made a profit there. And Jesse, Sean, I also had the under as my pay premium pick in the Oklahoma City game, and I was holding my breath because I thought we were going to get screwed with overtime. But thankfully that didn't occur. Jesse, how are you, my man?
Not bad. I also had the under in the Oklahoma City game, and I was 2-1 yesterday, but I'm a little bit discouraged about hitting about 500 the last 7 to 10 days. And I know I promised everybody that I've won 5 straight years in the NBA playoffs, and I haven't got off to as good of a start as I wanted to. So I figured everybody needed a little bit of a reminder, and I put something out on Twitter. I don't know if you boys got a chance to see that, but just reminding everybody that I did get off to a slow start to the NCAA tournament. I don't know if you guys remember that. And I don't know if you guys remember how I finished it. But the last 10 days of the tournament, a perfect 9-0 sweep for me. So we're looking to close out the NBA playoffs in similar fashion.
You're on a run right now in the NBA, aren't you? I thought I saw you were 6-0 or something like that with your last 6.
Well, that would include the prop bets. I've been really killing it with the prop bets.
Right, and we don't have the prop bet option here at Gamblers World. Yeah, so Jesse, as you could see, or as you could hear, he gets stronger as tournaments go on, whether it be the NCAA tournament, NBA playoffs, which is basically a tournament. And good stuff, that Jesse. And I'll tell you what, folks, this guy, if you follow him over the last decade or so, or if you're just new to the industry, do a search on Jesse Schule. He puts up winning numbers on a consistent basis. I'm a big fan of Jesse. I'm also a big fan of Sean, but he's a pain in the neck. Other than that, we're good. And anyway, I did have a winner last night with the Oklahoma City Thunder game under the total. We just discussed that with Sean. And my NBA right now, folks, again, 20-6 with my last 26 at, this is all at Gamblers World, by the way. 20-6 with my last 26, 32-11, 38-14 runs in the NBA. NBA postseason since 2022, 158. That's 100 wins, 58 losses, 63%. Basketball picks overall, college basketball and NBA since March the 19th, 60-27. And again, folks, as you can see, when it comes to crunch time, NCAA tournament, NBA playoffs, final stretch of the NBA regular season, had a great history of winning, and nothing's changed recently. And I feel very fortunate to be on the run I'm on. And you need to take advantage of that, folks. 195 will get you the NBA postseason from any three of us, right through the NBA finals. Also, a special going on right now. You buy a 3-day pass for $99. You're going to get the fourth day absolutely free from any one of us. So, and that's guaranteed, folks. So if you don't make a profit over those 4 days, you don't win. We will credit your account back the exact amount of your purchase price. All right, let's get to the games at hand. And let's start with Sean and the Minnesota-Denver game. And I know I caught a lot of flack from people when I took Denver as a free pick the other day. But the Nuggets now have tied the series after being down 2-0 in the series. And they're a 4.5-point home favorite tonight in a total of 206. Sean, the visiting teams are 4-0 in this series. Does that trend continue or not?
Yeah, and I was under the impression Denver didn't look too good. Murray's body language, his actions tended to lean to a fact of a guy who would like quit on himself or just look solely frustrated. And then, yeah, listen, the champs, you figure you're going to go get a good game. I thought it would be a 3-1 situation coming back here and maybe go 6. I don't know. The way Minnesota's played the last 2 games, you got to be like, wow, you get blasted in that game 3. You don't even come out that strong in game 4. This one here, though, I'm gonna look at an over here. And yes, Denver was terrible. We had the unders in those first games. They just looked really bad. And that's why you kind of got a little adjustment on the total, down a couple points from those games. They're home. They're shooting the ball well. I think Minnesota's going to – I think they have to come out here and shoot the ball well. They could defense all they want. But their backs are to the wall now because now it's back to even, and Denver's got the home court, and Denver is the defending champs. Denver's got the MVP who's playing pretty good. Murray seems to be back in space. The role players seem to found their roles. You're going to get pumped up at home here. You lost your first 2. You want to come on, put a show on for the fans, however you want to word it. I'm expecting a big game from them. Their team total is 104. I got to read that. 107.5. I think they're going over that. So yeah, give me the over here for this game here. I think it's going to get to the teens.
Yeah, all right. So you like Denver and Minnesota to go over the total of 206. And I don't, Sean, I could see where you're going with that, Sean, because you look at the adjustments that Denver made in game 3 and 4. I think, again, people guilty of putting too much emphasis on what they saw the game before, or even the 2 games before. Jesse, sometimes you have to weigh in the factor that Denver is the defending champ. They're well coached. They know how to make proper adjustments. They are the more veteran team, not only overall in the NBA, but also with playoff experience. What do you see here?
Hold on. Could I just add one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead,
before
Sean.
you, Jesse?
Go ahead.
And also the fact that, like, what you saw out of them against the Lakers gave you that little back in mind, like, wow, they don't look like they're that team again, right? Yeah. Down in every game, battling back, and you had a hungry young lion coming out to fight the leader of the pride kind of thing. So, but here we are. They come back and took care of business. But sorry, Jess, I just was going to, I should have mentioned that earlier.
I know one thing. Anthony Edwards is a top shelf player by every stretch of the imagination. Jesse, I think what needs to happen here is what we saw in the first 2 games where Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, guys like that, start stepping up. Towns was, he had double-digit scoring in the last game, but he shot the ball terrible. Anyway, your take, Jess.
So let's go back to Friday's live show. I did give out the Jamal Murray versus Anthony Edwards 3-point make prop. We did cash that. We also cashed the other one on the Josh Hart PRA. Swept the board with the props. I think I've done pretty darn well with the props the last week on this show, if not dating back longer. But my fading Jamal Murray strategy has come to an end. I feel that I got a little bit lucky the last couple games, and I know he's still listed on the injury report, but I'm not buying it. he looks okay to me moving forward. I will say that Rudy Gobert does not look okay. Rudy Gobert does not look like a defensive player of the year. He's struggling. If he can't get back on track, Minnesota's in trouble. I did pick Denver to win this series before the series started because they are the defending champs. Even though there was warning signs against the Lakers, I mean, they were trailing every game at some point, and they had to come from behind a lot. And I expected it to be a close series, but I thought Minnesota not quite there yet, like a younger team, up and coming, but still not quite ready to win on the road in Denver. And then they win both the first two games in blowout fashion, and I was bewildered, and I was ready to write it off as well. Denver's banged up, Murray's banged up, but I look at the last two games, and you look at how Minnesota played in the first two games and how Denver played in the last two games, and which one is closer to reality to me. I think for me, the way Denver played in the last two games is going to be easier for them to replicate than it is for Minnesota to recapture the way they played in game one and game two. I think that's closer to the team that Denver is, whereas the team that won those first two games in Denver is going to be hard for them to recapture that for Minnesota. So my lean is toward Denver in this game.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I would go one step further and say that, they look dead at 2-0 going back on the road at Minnesota, who is terrific at home this season. And they win the next two games. They're back in the series. It's 2-2. They regained home court advantage again and in front of the home crowd. I got to believe they're going to come out strong in this game. For that reason, I would lean toward a pick in the first half on the Denver Nuggets here. I think we're looking at a team that's, they're riding momentum. They know they made the proper adjustments. They're confident. They're a more veteran team. And, again, to use an old baseball cliche where you're squeezing a bat when you're struggling, a young Timberwolves team that relinquished control of this series now goes back on the road, and they'll be squeezing the ball a little bit, I think.
And Jamal Murray's definitely got his swagger back. I think that's fair to say.
He was terrific in Game 4, wasn't he? So, in any event, Jesse, you like you said, you've been doing very well with your props. Terrific. As a matter of fact, all our free picks on this channel, overall, folks, if you've been following us, we win a hell of a lot more than we lose. And those are free picks. They're not even our best picks. So that doesn't mean we don't want to win. And it's a perfect example of what I just said is, if we put something out, we want to win it. But Jesse, what do you got for some props here in both games tonight?
Well, let's start with Game 5 in Game 5 in New York. I'm obviously extremely happy to see the series tied at 2. I've been talking about the hashtag Pacers in 6. I told that story on the Friday Night Live about the LA Kings in 2001, and I still foresee that happening here. So I'm not about to go against the Pacers here in Game 5, but you got to look at the Knicks, and they're really up against it. Brunson's shots have been coming up short ever since he suffered that foot injury. And if he can't get right, it's going to be difficult for the Knicks to overcome that. You got Robinson out for the playoffs, Randall out for the playoffs. Hartenstein now showed up on the injury report with a shoulder injury, and OG Anunoby again will not play in Game 5. The Knicks 24-5 with Anunoby, 30-31 without him. That long list of injuries for the Knicks could open the door, though, for some role players to step up and fill some minutes. I think Thibodeau has learned that playing guys like Josh Hart 48 minutes isn't working. They looked like they had the energy drained out of them in Game 4. We did see Alec Burks come in, though, and he played he's averaged 22 minutes in the last two games. And in those 22 minutes, he's averaged 17 points and 4.5 rebounds. His points, rebounds total for this game is just 12.5. And I think, like I say, because of all the players that are banged up, because of the injuries to the starters, you're going to see guys like Burks get a chance to play. And Burks is a veteran, 32 years old, over a decade in the league. The guy knows what he's doing. If he gets 22 minutes, he'll go over that number. I guarantee you.
Yeah,
And looking at the – oh, sorry, you want to follow up?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he's going to get additional minutes with the injury, and Burks has been a proven player when given the opportunity. He was a lot more of a played a lot more of a vital role early in his career on the teams he was on. But I agree with you, Sean. Anything on Alec Burks that you want to share?
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I was just looking over. I was like, man, maybe I'll like a prop today. And I know we were talking about him beforehand, but Burks did jump out because I'm like, this guy's a veteran, and no one who's there to take shots. You look at last game, their leading scorer. He was their leading scorer in 20 minutes of came in. Well, listen, the Knicks got problems, and you saw with DiVincenzo. You can't play these guys 45 or 6 minutes, take a bunch of shots, you come out, and then you have no legs and go 3 of 13 from the field. So, yesterday they played a bunch of guys. I didn't even know who these guys are on their team, right? Or 2 days ago, whenever it was. I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, who? Why didn't you use these other 5 or 6 guys? You wouldn't be in this predicament. Your guys wouldn't be falling apart down the stretch and coming up lane with their jump shots. But yeah, I like the Burks one a lot.
All right, Jesse, continue.
Yeah, a little bit less on the analysis for the Denver-Minnesota game. But I did mention Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year. Hasn't looked like it in the last 2 games since he had the baby. And he's actually looked like a bit of a defensive liability. Naz Reid has played a lot better, and I think that we might see Naz Reid pick up some more minutes in this game because Rudy Gobert has struggled. And Reid has gone over his points and rebounds total in 3 of the 4 games in this series. His points rebounds total is 14.5. I think that number fails to take into account that he might be playing a bigger role in this game. So I like Naz Reid over 14.5 points and rebounds. And then one additional one, just quickly I'll mention it because it jumped out when I saw it. Players to record a double-double. The Joker, no double-double is plus 550. And wouldn't you know it if he's failed to record a double-double in 2 of the 4 games so far in this series. So as much as I think the Joker's probably going to get a double tonight, anytime you can get plus 550 on something that's hitting 50% over a stretch is pretty decent value. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of value there. The Joker does get a lot of double-doubles. I don't know what percentage he is this year, but a lot higher percentage than most, that's for sure. Naz Reid, Sean, Jesse makes a good point. If Gobert is not playing good defense, and even if you like Denver in this game, which you guys pointed toward, think about the fact that if Minnesota's down in this game in the second half, you're going to go with your better offensive option, which is Naz Reid. And he's played very well during the series. So I like that a lot. Naz Reid over 14.5 points and rebounds. Alec Burks over 12.5 points and rebounds. And the Joker, Sean, the Joker, no double-double, plus 550. Jesse's going out on a limb, no minus 170 or minus 180 here. He's taking a shot, baby.
It's a great payday. But I see the Joker. He usually pays at minus 110 to do triple doubles.
Yeah.
Now, for him, I see the rebounds. I think he could get his rebounds. That's what scares me. The assists I could see not getting there. Right. Minnesota's going to D up. Guys are going to have bad shots. I understand that. But the rebounds, I think, I don't know. I'm pulling for a plus 5. You listen, plus 550, definitely piqued my interest.
Well, like I say, he's failed to get a double-double in 2 of the 4 games in the series so far.
Yeah. The rebounds, you're saying that you think he's going to get 10 or more.
Yeah.
Well, then if that's the case, you're telling me that the Joker's he's going to score less than 10 tonight.
If he has 10 rebounds?
Yeah. What I'm saying is
he's telling you he doesn't like the bet, Ross.
Oh, he doesn't like the bet. I thought you were agreeing with Jesse.
Yeah, okay. I'm worried because I think he's going to get the rebound. That's all I was like.
Yeah.
Well, even I said I think Joker's going to get a double-double, but at plus 550, when he's failed to do it in 2 of the last 4, it stood out to me. And I think it's worth it, half a unit, quarter of a unit, whatever you want to put on it.
2 of the last 4 was the 2 games in Minnesota. He did get a double-double. No, Jesse, or not?
I think he failed to get a double-double once in Minnesota and
I
once
got
in
him right here. 35-7 last game, 24-4,
Okay.
35-7, 24-14, 16-16, 32-8 in game 1.
Interesting. I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on that because that's great odds at plus 550. And
But here's the thing, though. You look at that Lakers series. Rebounds, 20, 14, 15, 20, and 12.
But the Lakers don't have an abundance of
Size.
powerful
I know.
defensive big men.
I get it.
If any team's going to hold them under 10 rebounds, it would be Minnesota, right?
yeah, they got size. There's no 2 ways about it. So, all right. So there you have it. Sean likes the under 20 or over 206, excuse me, in the Minnesota Denver game. Jesse's picks on his props: Alec Burks of the Knicks over 12.5 points and rebounds combined. Naz Reid of the Denver Nuggets or Minnesota Timberwolves, excuse me, over 14.5 points and rebounds combined. And the Joker, not to get a double-double. Jesse says, I'm sick and tired of these 170, 180s and getting razzed by Ross.
No,
Plus 550, baby. That's what he's going with. All right, let me get to my pick. And Jesse gave me every reason why I'm going with the contrarian approach here. He described the Knicks as hurting. He described the Knicks as wearing down. He described the Knicks as shorthanded. And yet here they are, the odds makers, even off a 32-point loss in which they were dominated. And what we saw in game 4, where everything that Jesse said was very apparent, there's still a 2-point favorite in this contest. Now, again, I'm going to take the Knicks here. And I will guarantee you that somebody, if not more than one person in the comment section, will go on this long list of how many guys are out for the Knicks and basically what Jesse just said, okay? And save your breath because it's all baked into the line, folks, okay? The Knicks would not be a 2-point favorite if OG Anunoby was playing. They would not be a 2-point favorite if both OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson was playing. Bogdanovich hasn't been in this series. He went out in the first series, and Julius Randle hasn't played since mid-March. Okay, so we're basically talking about 2 players, OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson, that hurt them on the defensive end because they're both very good defensive players. However, I've been saying this right along, and I'll continue to say it. And this is a perfect situation for this in terms of resiliency in the Knicks and the resiliency that they've shown all year long when people count them out. The Knicks are 4-0 straight up in ATS this year at home off back-to-back losses. The Knicks are 8-1 straight up this year off a conference home straight up loss. The Knicks are 9-1 straight up this year off a road loss by 10 or more. Okay. Remember, you mentioned OG Anunoby. They've played 62 games this year without OG Anunoby, whether it be by injury or before the trade. So all those numbers I just gave you, and I realize who's out. You're not inventing the wheel by telling me this. I didn't wake up this morning 5 minutes ago and not look at everything. I think we'll see a resilient Knicks team again. I mean, Indiana coming off a 32-point home win in game 4 to tie the series 2-2, but they're 2-8 straight up this year off a home win by 20 or more. So after an impressive home win, they haven't responded well. Indiana also 0-7 straight up in their last 7 off a conference win by 10 or more, losing by 12.89 points per game. So again, folks, don't get caught up and don't get carried away with everything you see. I think a lot of you, after what you saw in specifically speaking in game 4 and with the Knicks laundry list of injury players and how they looked worn down in game 4, are going to think this is an absolute steal with Indiana. And I'm telling you, it's not. I'm going to take the New York Knicks here on the money line at odds of minus 130 over the Indiana Pacers. Again, folks, we're talking about 1-game situations here. We're not picking series winners. So like I said yesterday in the Oklahoma City pick, the same thing, people want to say who's the better team, who's this, who's that. I'm looking at just a one-game situation here. And I think this sets up perfectly for a team that's shown resiliency all year and looked terrible in their last game. Jesse?
You don't expect me to agree with you, do you, Ross?
No, I don't. Not based on what you said.
I'll tell you what, though, your analysis, your reasoning, I actually do agree with almost everything you're saying. But what it tells me is the Knicks are a good bet in the first quarter, maybe in the first half. But given the injury problems, given the fact that Indiana is relatively healthy or almost 100% healthy, I know that Halliburton remains on the injury report, but he's looked pretty damn good the last two games. I'd be concerned that they can put it together for a full 48 minutes. I think if they're going to, as you said, their resiliency and everything that you said to me sounded like, geez, the Knicks sound like a great bet in the first quarter to get, back at home to start off strong. And if they don't, if they're losing at halftime, I really don't like their chances. Let me tell you. In addition to that, Ross, pull another page from your book. Think like a bookmaker. Do you know what the odds are in the series right now?
I guess that Indiana is a favorite if you bring that up.
Pacers are minus 140 for the series. 2 of the 3 games are in New York, and New York's a favorite in this game. Wrap your head around that. Can you explain that to me?
Well, why are they a favorite in this game? Let me throw it back at you. I could see what they're saying is the longer the series goes on, okay, they could win tonight. And the longer the series goes on, that long list of injuries is going to catch up to them as the series wears on. I just think and again, you're listening to me carefully and you're hearing the Knicks in the first half. You need to listen to it again because I like the Knicks for the game. But anyway, yes, it's a good point, Jesse. And I don't mean to sound contradictory to that statement, but if you're asking me for a reasonable explanation as to why Indiana is the favorite in the series and the Knicks are the favorite tonight, my explanation that I could give you, and I even said I thought Indiana was going to win this series after the Knicks jumped off 2-0. But I think this is going to be a 7-game series, and yeah, I mean, if I
would the Knicks be the favorite in Game 7 then?
It depends on what we see in the next couple games. It depends on it probably is going to depend more on what we see in Game 6 than what we see tonight. Does that make sense? Because again, what will the perception be and how much will that be factored into the Game 7 line from what people saw in Game 6 and the odds makers always factoring in perception. And again, if the Knicks barely get by tonight, and it was because Indiana played a terrible game, and then Indiana comes out in Game 6 and blows them off the floor like they did in Game 4, I would say it'd be more closer to a pick'em game, and now we're wearing down in the series. We're 7 games in, and we got players that are not used to the minutes they're playing right now. And you got other players, like you just said, the 3 guys from Villanova, who are logging 40-plus minutes a game. So that would be my explanation. I'm not saying you're asking me for a reasonable explanation, and I'm doing my best to answer that question. Sean?
Yeah, it's a good point he brings up there. Like, they're favored, but yet they'd probably be dogs in 2 of the next 3 games. So, but listen, if you like the Pacers, you take a money line today.
Yeah.
You lay off at home because they'll be laying 7 or 8. And then you take a money line if they're a dog again. I mean, that's the way you play the series now. I mean, the plus 400's gone. The plus 160 is gone. And today's, I got to go with Jesse's route here. If you think the Knicks are going to bounce back after a poor performance, it's definitely first quarter, first half. Because, again, it's here come the guy. You mentioned it. Guys who haven't played a whole lot of late coming in. And I don't know. Listen, I like the Pacers to start. I'm sure, listen, your number one fan, Mr. Numbers, is going to love you. Come in here, give you a big thumbs up for the Knicks pick.
That's certainly not the reason why, but
yes, it is. You want him on your side.
Yeah, I mean,
all the Knicks. Listen, I bring up a good guy. Tommy Tamoose is a big Knick guy. They're all going to be cheering for the Knicks today.
Well, I mean, again, the guys, the way I am. Okay, and we
Now
can.
we don't care about teams. We care about just wins. I get it, but
Yeah,
I gotta crank up the Knicks fans.
But again, to me, I would think that the logical choice here is Indiana, especially after what we saw in Game 4 and some of the points that Jesse made in his props analysis. So we'll see.
The crazy thing, Ross, is that unfortunately the Knicks, they're going to blow a 2-0 lead. The Rangers on their way to blowing a 3-0 series lead. New York is going to be in flames.
They're going to
And
set
then the Yanks are going to collapse pretty soon. And oh my goodness.
Yeah. So the pessimist that you are. Anyway, all right, guys. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take a second to do so. Jesse, there's a like button right underneath. What do you want them to do with it?
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button, folks. Just a small token of your appreciation for the work, time, and effort we put in to bringing you a quality podcast each and every day. I will be back tomorrow with these two gents, and join us then, folks. Until then, for Sean Higgs, Jesse Schule, and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.